Bones to Peaches doesn't work on Osseous, but the Salve Amulet E does. To fight the boss, you need to first complete a quick quest with the calm archaeologist at the Anachronia base camp. Let him teleport you to the Rex Matriarch lair, then activate the first gate, go through it and activate the second gate, and then go through the second gate and excavate the archaeology spot for a relic. Once you restore that, just head through the portal in War's Retreat and hand it to the archaeologist, and then you're good to fight the boss. You'll also find some baby dinosaurs locked up in the second gate area. You can use jail cell keys from the boss to unlock the cells and get pet overrides. The keys are pretty rare and required for trim, so they're definitely going to keep this boss good money for a while. Honestly though, even the common drops are really good right now. For this guide, I'm using tier 90 weapons because I realized the tier 95 weapons are pretty expensive. That said, upgrading to tier 95s will push you to even better times. For the armor, unfortunately, we do need to use the tier 95 set with the exception of one piece that will replace with tier 90 deathdealer. It doesn't matter which piece you replace, but gloves or boots are best. I'll go over an alternative at the end that's not quite as AFK, but doesn't require tier 95 armor. If you still find yourself dying with this setup for some reason, I suggest using the tier 90 deathwarden body instead of deathdealer. That should keep you safe no matter what. I'm also using the new ring, the occultist ring, in my loadout. You don't need to do this, but the ring is so good and combos really well with the equilibrium aura, which we'll be using. The ring's a fairly common drop too. I might just be lucky, but I'm averaging about a 1 in 30 drop rate on it, so it's not exactly rare. I'll put a full list of the rest of the gear in the description for you. For our perks, we have Crackling for Undead Slayer and Impatient for DPS, then Absorbative 4 and Crystal Shield 4 for defensives. On my weapons, I have Aftershock 4 Precise 2 and Equilibrium 4 Ruthless 3. You kill a bunch of baby dinos during the fight, so Ruthless 3 is a good perk to have. For relics, I use Conservation of Energy, Persistent Rage, and Death Ward. These are non-negotiable. I also have the passive Ring of Vigor effect unlocked. Our action bar is Conjure Undead Army, Conjure Ghost, Touch of Death, Living Death, Death Skulls, Soul Sap, Volley of Souls, Sacrifice, Divert, and Finger of Death. I'm also going to include a couple other bars that people have reported working, so if this one doesn't work for you for some reason, you can try out these other ones too. I'm using Lesser Bone Shield to cast Divert to save on rune cost. We'll also cast Darkness throughout the fight. For our prayers, I'm using Soul Split and Sorrow. In my inventory, I use Powder Penance with Elder Overload Salves and a Holy Wrench for prayer sustain. It's not 100% perfect, but it's very close. If you use a Holy Scarab Familiar, you don't need to worry about prayer and can probably upgrade to the tier 99 curse. However, I'm using a Ripper Demon for a little extra DPS. You can also use a Blood Reaver without scrolls if you're looking for some extra DPS. It's not a huge difference, so honestly, the Holy Scarab is probably best if you're heavily AFK. Alternatively, you can use a legendary pet too. Besides that, I have a Spring Cleaner and some magic notepaper. This boss drops a ton of damaged bones, which alch for 5k each. I use the notepaper to grab these throughout the hour for some extra cash. I'll pop them in my auto-alcher later to help cover supply cost. Honestly, that's it for the setup. I'll type it all out in the description in case you or I missed something. If you have any problems or you're super happy with how this works, let me know in the comments. I'll also be releasing my overdue semi-AFK Zut guide finally, either this weekend or next, so make sure to sub so you don't miss it. When you start the fight, you'll need to be extra careful during your first kill because the timing on this bar is very precise. After the first kill, you just need to make sure you keep Overload and Prayer up. Before starting the instance, I suggest putting on the Equilibrium aura, activating your scripture, drinking Overload, and applying Penance Powder. Once I start the instance, I immediately head in and cross the agility obstacle, then dive close to the boss. I let my character auto-retaliate to start the fight. After a little while, Osseous will smash his tail into the ground. This attack does about 7k melee damage, but with our bar, it gets diverted into adrenaline instead. If your timing is off during the first kill, that won't happen and it makes things riskier. You'll see these mini dinosaurs run out to attack you. When things go to plan, Death Skulls will kill all but 2 of them for you, so it's not an issue. But if that first kill has bad timing, that won't happen. What you need to do in that case is watch carefully. Osseous will spin his tail for a second time, which shoots the mini dinosaurs backwards, and then they'll come running back towards you. At this point, manually cast Blood Siphon to leech down their life and heal yourself. You'll be totally fine after that. Just AFK the rest of the kill, and the next kill should go perfectly with 0 inputs required. If you get dragged to a few squares over, don't worry at all and just leave your character there. I designed this method to work perfectly in the spot. You will skip this attack sometimes when Deathmark is applied to Osseous. I'll quickly show you one full kill, and then also in the description I'll have a link to an entire hour of me doing this. Now, what if you don't have tier 95 armor? I get it, it's expensive, you need to kill this boss so that you can't afford it. What we'll do instead is use either deathwarden or deathdealer. Use the same bar and setup as much as you can, the one that I went over at the start of the video, but replace divert with resonance on your bar. Then, when you see the tailspin attack and the minions start running towards you for the second time, use Blood Siphon manually on the boss. This will heal you up and keep you safe. Then let Rebo do the rest for you, and when the kill ends, unequip then re-equip your lantern to reset your conjures. Otherwise, the timing may get off, causing you to take the full damage from the tail smash at the beginning. If you don't have Soul Split unlocked, then things get even more difficult. At this point, you're really going to need to prayer switch to survive the boss. I'd love to give you a working AFK strategy, but the reality is you take too much damage to survive without a lot of other high-level stuff thrown into the setup. But this boss is really well designed to help you practice prayer switching so you can get better at PvM in general. I encourage you to give it a try at least.